Okay, this is the baby quilt. This started as a couple articles of clothing, and what I did was I laid out all the blue. I put it on the iron-on fusing interfacing, ironed it on, and then I cut it out, and I used my little Lego block. It's 5x5. I have other cutting mats and stuff. That works great. And so I have this placed so far. It's going to be eight of eight. But anyway, it's going to be about as big as this table, because I want to use as much of these pieces as possible. And then it's going to get backed with really nice soft white fabric, not fuzzy, that I actually got from the fabric store. So these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's probably, we're probably going to add one more here and finish these. You see how I have the blue? I'm trying to do a sort of a pattern. This one is for a baby boy. And some of the things I pieced together, try to make them uniform size. It's very hard to work with this jersey material, but I want to honor it and be very careful with it, so I have just worked very slow with it. And as you can see, I'm getting it all placed down. And then what will happen is, let's see if I can back up some. Don't mind my closet. This is my studio. Can't show you. I can't point it towards the laptop. I'm listening to Traveling Robert on YouTube, but can't have that on a video. So it's going to be all laid out. I'm going to finish placing those around, and then what you do, this takes most time actually, just planning it out, is you go ahead and you pick up your fabric like this, okay? And then you know you have how you've placed them. When you get to the sewing machine, you're going to do like that. Sew those, open it up and attach that one, or you can do two at a time and then go back, whatever works for you. That'll be the tedious part. It's just actually sewing all these pieces, because we're going to have about 80 pieces. It's she asked for 36 by 48, so I think we'll be pretty close to that. Right around that, maybe teensy bit bigger, but remember, it's going to shrink some. When you go to sew these, you're losing 1/4 of an inch on each piece. So if we have like 80 pieces, okay, you're losing 1/4 of an inch on each piece. Maybe even more than that, because you got a quarter inch here, and then on the other side, so 1/2 an inch. So that's why you want to go ahead and make it larger. And I found it is better, really, to go ahead and try to do it a square than a rectangle. Although this is going to be a little bit more of a rectangle, but it's not going to be skinny rectangle. It's going to be really good dimensions. So a crib quilt is what it's going to be. And I will take this, each row, okay? Each row gets sewn, and then you'll have all these different rows, and then you go back and put each row this way. So once these are sewn, imagine this is the whole row, okay? Then you're going to flip it like that onto the next row, and so on. And I'm not going to put sashing in between because, number one, she didn't ask me for it, and I just think it would look fine the way it is. It's going to be enormous if I try to add sashing. It's already going to be it's going to be at least the size of the table, which is a very good crib size. It's going to last quite a while. And these are from the grandma's nightgowns. So I'm sure it's going to be well loved, and I'd like it to last a long time. So what you can do is, it seems like it's given you problems sewing, like catching, because when I pieced the white together, it did catch a little bit. Just start further in. Don't start on the very end. Start further in and then back stitch, and then come back, forward stitch. But go very slowly. Take your time, and it will be worth it. It will be worth just taking your time and not rushing through it. Okay, so I'll show you more of it once I start getting the rows together. Before I sew the rows together, I want to get all the rows done before I attach them together to make the actual quilt top. I'll make another video of that. And then we have our batting over here, and that's going to go inside. It's going to be very, very light batting. It's I don't know if you can see, it's quite thin. So that's going to go in there, and then it's going to get backed with a real soft white backing. And what you'll do is you get your top and you make a sandwich, and I'll show you that. You take your batting and you put your backing down, then your batting, and then your quilt top. And you go ahead and quilt, sew a couple lines through it so it stays. And then you go back and trim all the way around it, and sew all the way around. And when you're talking about a baby quilt, you want to do at least twice. And I have strong upholstery thread that I'm using. Not exactly upholstery thread, but it's very, very strong, durable thread. So it's not going to break easy, and it's going to go through lots of washes, so it's got to be strong. So I'll do at least 2, possibly 3 stitches all the way around it. And then we'll go back and add a little blue binding. I'm just going to add like just a cotton blue binding all the way around. I'll show you how to do that. That's super easy. What you do is you say this is the side of your quilt top. Then you take, and you always start it on the back. You would turn your quilt top. Let's do this one. You would turn it over so you're on the back side, and say this is your long piece. And what you want to do is take your long pieces and just keep attaching them until they're the whole length all the way around. And actually you want to go about 5 or 6 inches longer. And then you just keep sewing all the way around it. And what you're doing is, say this is your back, you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to put that folded side right there on the edge, and that, imagine this is your binding that goes all the way around, and you're just going to sew straight down, and then you're going to turn it right side over, so you're looking at the top of it, and then you'll be coming back. I'll make another video of it, but you'll be coming back and pulling the binding from around back and sewing it on the front. There's your two pieces, right? You know, your two going around it, and then I probably will go around it one more time, and then that's going to give you a beautiful binding all the way around it. It's kind of hard to imagine now, but it's going to be pretty. You just have to really take your time when you're working with jersey, unless you go ahead and put stabilizer on it. I had to do that on the blue because it's just unsewable otherwise. The machine won't even go through it. So if I go really slow, I won't have to do stabilizer on the rest. And I'll tell you a secret, if you get to that point where you really have to, you can go ahead and lay out your, see over there I have a bunch of interfacing. You can lay your interfacing out and place all these on top of it and iron it on so they stick. And of course you would put a sheet over it while you're ironing so you don't burn the fabric. And then go back and sew all the lines. I thought about doing that, but I really like the look of actual, you know, the fabric where it's been sewn together and you flip it, you know, when you sew it and then you flip it back over, it looks nicer. But in a pinch, you can do it the other way. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching, and I will follow up once we get the rows done before we start attaching the rows. All righty.